Hello, everyone. Candid with Devoted to Travel, and we're here to talk about Italy today, and more specifically, the capital, Rome. You have to see Rome to just understand it, the history, what is all around you. It is overwhelming, and there is a lot to see. The city area itself is almost 500 square meters, which is comparable to New York City to kind of help you put it in perspective. Now, if you're flying into Rome, the city center is not close to the airport. So you will need to arrange transportation to get you into the city. My suggestion is to stay close in the city. I do not suggest driving in Rome. It is an ancient city. The roads are narrow. They are not on a grid. The drivers are crazy. We have driven a good chunk of Italy, but not Rome. So you want to kind of think about that. You can arrange transportation, or you can just grab a cab outside of the airport. If you're going to get a taxi, there will be people that will walk up to you in the airport and ask if you need a taxi. You want to bypass them, go outside to the actual registered taxis. They're white cars with numbers on the side. It is a flat fee to go into the city center. It's an easy way to get into the city. They navigate the roads quite well. If you are cruising and Rome is one of your ports, know that Rome is not a port. Rome is inland. The actual port is Civitavecchia. It's over an hour to get to the city center. The easiest way is either by train. A tour is recommended, or you could try and take a taxi. If you're only there for a day, you're going to need to prioritize and think about what you want to see. If the Vatican's on your list, know that that's about an all-day affair. If you're on a cruise, you're not going to have much time to see anything else. It's going to be very little time with the travel distance and time in and back. You can easily spend several days in Rome, and even if you are planning a couple of days in Rome, you're still not going to see everything. There's a lot of walking, and it may look on a map like it's pretty close. So looking at a map, if you're looking at Vatican City and you're thinking about the Pantheon, that's about 1.5 miles right there. And it looks pretty close on the map, and it's probably going to take you at least 40 minutes. You know, walking in a city in crowded streets is always going to take you longer than if you were just walking at your normal pace without any other people around or, to navigate. I'm only showing you a handful of probably the top attractions just to get an idea of the city, what you're looking at. If you're traveling in by train or out, so the central train station, the Termini, is to the east. You can see it on the map if you look about 3 o'clock, thinking about a clock. You will need to kind of take that into consideration. My candid recommendation to you is to think about taking the hop-on, hop-off bus. We've done it a couple of times. I think it's a great way to learn about the city if you've never been there. The loop takes a good 2 hours depending on traffic, but they point out all the different areas. They changed several years ago a lot of the streets to pedestrian walkways, so you're not going to be able to get close. There's going to be walking to get to certain attractions no matter what, because no vehicles can get really close to certain areas. So just kind of keep that in mind depending on your accessibility and how much you want to walk. I'm going to put a link to the hop-on, hop-off bus that we used. Again, we really liked it, but you need to take a few things into consideration. Number one, you have to pack patience. You're in a very large city. Again, it's about the size of New York City as far as area. It's crowded. If you are going in the peak season, so in the summer, it's going to be very hot and it's going to be very crowded, and the lines are going to be very long. If you can at all, my suggestion is to go on the shoulder seasons, especially the way our weather has changed so much. It's been extremely hot the last several years. And it might be a better option if you can with your calendars to go April, May, and maybe early June, or September, October into early November. We tend to travel there in October. We've had fabulous weather. It's not as crowded, although it is crowded, but you can expect to have lines even with that bus on the shoulder seasons. We didn't wait too long. We were able to get on. We just found it a good way to get around the city pretty easily. And that hop on, hop off bus, there are a few different options, but I know the one that we took actually stopped at that train station. Most people in Italy do speak English. And nowadays there's apps and a lot of different devices. It'll help you with that language barrier. Now, one word of caution when you're touring around Rome, please be very aware of your surroundings. You will have many people coming up to you, trying to give you things for free. They're really not free, and it's more of a scam. Pickpocketing is huge all over Europe, but especially in the larger cities like Rome. You just need to be aware. But what they're doing, and you'll even see older women and stuff trying to hand you stuff, even in churches, and they're hoping to get a coin or something from you as far as money. There's somebody watching to see where your money is. Once they know where your money is on your person, it's much easier to pickpocket you. So although you may want to give them something for this or may feel sorry, my suggestion is not to do it, or to have a couple of coins somewhere totally separate from where your money is. If you need it, then they don't really know where you're keeping the bulk of your money or your credit cards. Again, you just need to be very aware. We've never had any issues, but I'm sure if you search around online, you will find that several people have. I highly recommend including Rome on a vacation to Italy, unless you absolutely do not want to deal with a city atmosphere. But there are so many wonderful things to see. The ancient city, the architecture, they've done a fabulous job of preserving it. No matter where you walk, you will be in awe of what you're going to see and the history around you. It's just fabulous to be able to stay there for a few days and decide ahead of time what you want to see and have a plan to make things a little bit easier on yourself and less stressful. I'm happy to help you with any questions or planning. I'm going to be highlighting some different cities in Italy, so go ahead and subscribe or follow along, and we'll talk again soon. Ciao.